Tennessee state authorities announced just yesterday that they are investigating a company that operates a plastics factory where 11 workers were swept away by the insane, the water generated by the hurricane that devastated so much of America's southeast. And I want to give you some details about this because people lost their lives as a result of it. And the allegations are that the company should have known better, certainly should have done better to protect the lives of their workers. And because they didn't, people are now dead. That is what the investigation is sort of founded on. And so here are the details. As the nearby Nolichucky River swelled from rainfall, employees in the Impact Plastics factory in Erwin, a small community in rural Tennessee, kept working. Several asserted that they weren't allowed to leave in time to avoid the storm's impact. It wasn't until water flooded into the parking lot and the power went out that the plant shut down and sent workers home. The raging waters swept 11 people away and only 5 were rescued. 2 of them are confirmed dead. 4 others in the factory are still missing since they washed away Friday in Erwin. So some of the workers managed to drive away eventually from the plant while others got caught on a clogged road where water rose high enough to sweep vehicles away. Some have talked about their experience where they tried to flee after they finally were allowed to leave. The waters kept rising, so they got onto the back of a truck. The truck was eventually hit by debris and turned over. And all of that is just like, I cannot even mentally put myself into the position of how utterly horrifying that is. They should have been allowed to go away. They never should have been in the path of all of that water. And so Impact Plastics is apparently being investigated by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They put out a statement saying they have not been contacted by the TBI, but they will fully cooperate with their investigation. They say the company is preparing an internal review, which it will release to the public. I can't wait for that. Edge of my seat for what they're gonna find. I wonder if they'll blame themselves. But anyway, they said in a statement on Monday, so this is prior to the worst of it, that they continued to monitor weather conditions Friday and that managers dismissed employees when water began to cover the parking lot and the adjacent service road and the plant lost power. Okay, so 2 of the workers have disputed those claims. We'll give you more of what they had to say about it, but this is, Adrienne, exactly what you don't want to see. People who feel like if they do what they're being told to do by the government, what they know to be the safe thing to do, the responsible thing to do, they could lose their jobs potentially. They could be fired, they could suffer, and they can't necessarily afford to lose those positions. So they stay in positions where their lives could be lost, and in fact, some were lost. What do you think?
Yeah, nobody should be put in that position where they have to decide between their livelihood and their life, because that's exactly what this employer did in this situation. And whether or not Tennessee Bureau of Investigation actually taps in to figure out how did this employer act when it came to releasing employees? Did they release employees too late or whatnot? The fact is there are going to be a number of lawsuits, wrongful death, workplace-related injuries, and it's going to be extremely expensive. And the thing is, it's also just such a reflection of how broken our society is with capitalism and these employers, how they can get away with so much by leveraging their power over individuals' lives, whether it's tying your health insurance to your employment or situations like this, like tying your entire livelihood to your decision to stay at work because, hey, otherwise maybe you will die, like in this situation.
Yeah, no one should ever be put in that position where they feel like they have to do something dangerous to keep their job. And some of the workers are saying that that's kind of how they felt. One told News 5 WCYB that employees were made to wait until it was, quote, too late. Another made a similar statement to the Knoxville News Sentinel saying, quote, they should have evacuated when we got the flash flood warnings and when they saw the parking lot. We asked them if we should evacuate and they told us not yet. It wasn't bad enough. Now, the founder of Impact Plastics, Gerald O'Connor, says, we are devastated by the tragic loss of great employees. Those who are missing or deceased and their families are in our thoughts and prayers. And by the way, the 2 that are confirmed dead at this point are Mexican citizens. So there's another element to the story. And I don't know, Gerald O'Connor, maybe he's devastated. I would assume that even if it had been, and we find out through the investigation, a policy to make people work, even though it's dangerous, finding out that is a decision that you might have made led to people dying, I hope for any human causes you some lost sleep. I have no idea. I don't know what the managers were thinking. I don't know what they were told to do. I don't know who is to blame, if anyone. But I do think that if the investigation shows that they did know better and that they made the decision for the purposes of, being better for the business rather than better for the lives of the workers, people should go to jail. If you're, requiring people to risk their lives, you're endangering their lives. You're using the potential, maybe explicit, maybe implicit threat of, economic harm to put people in dangerous situations. And companies are going to continue to do this until there are legal consequences for it. Individual managers should be worried. Again, I don't want them to be put in the position. Like, theoretically, we should see how high this goes. But I was reminded by producer Mike earlier today about the Amazon warehouse that was destroyed, I believe by tornadoes a couple of years ago. And so it's not like this has only happened once. I think employers need to know that there will be consequences if you endanger the lives of your workers so that you can eke out a little bit more profit in the moments leading up to a natural disaster. But what do you think? I don't know the legality of any of this, Adrienne, but what do you think?
Oh, I think it's perfectly fair. And I think the individual managers, because they can be sued when there's instances of discrimination for their particular actions or failure to take action. So I think the same thing should happen, but in terms of not just like your livelihood, but your freedom in this kind of situation as a leader of the organization. If you're forcing people to stay by basically conveying to them that they're going to lose their job if they don't put their life on the line, then maybe your freedom should be also online. It shouldn't be a matter of just taking money from the company, but also putting people in prison. I think it's
Yeah.
fair.
Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.